bit easier to lock down a spot these days compared to other cities, but it's still not painless.
The percentage of unoccupied apartments in this city is at 3.7%, which means Windsor's vacancy rate is higher than the Ontario and national averages. That's according to Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation's report on the rental market.
The vacancy rates, particularly in some of the areas closer to the University of Windsor or St. Clair College, are elevated. And some of that could be attributed to fewer international students. Another thing to consider is Windsor has a little bit above average number of temporary foreign workers, due to some of the industries in the region. And this year, we saw less of those as well.
Because of the federal cap on international students allowed to enter Canada, the number we are seeing in Windsor has taken a hit for the second year in a row. That means there are more rentals available, but the report shows that rents have actually gone up. The average two-bedroom rental costs upwards of $1,400.
I think it's not easy. It should be more, like they should look into it more so it can be more easy for students.
So I'll stay home a couple years as I try to, get an entry-level job and then try to work myself up so I can, where majority of my take-home pay isn't going towards directly my rent.
It's just hard. Like, we're just three of us. It's hard to find good three-bedroom places, especially, and for a good price range. A lot of it's like $950, $800. Like that's too much. Yeah. So it's been hard to find something that's in a good price range for sure.
But we can't afford to pay $1,000 each to live in a house. So I still want a nice house that's not run down, but I still want to be paying a bunch of money for something I can't afford.
But experts say the affordability is still out of reach as local incomes are not keeping pace with rents.
There's a double pressure now because incomes have not increased, people's benefits have not increased from ODSP and things like that. And so now when you see rental rates increasing to where they have, it really puts a lot of pressure on people looking to rent in the market, and as well just for that affordability aspect that people just can't make ends meet.
Windsor saw 3,000 additional units going on board last year. And so those are all new units that are exempt from rent control. Ontario needs to close that rent control exemption so that all units, regardless of the age type, that tenants who live in those buildings know that they are protected by rent control. That will make all renters in Windsor and across Ontario immediately more secure.
Experts say more investment into affordable housing is needed, along with rent control, to make the rental market in Windsor truly affordable. Pratish Dayal, CBC News, Windsor.
Living so close to the U.S. border means we can pop over there pretty easily. That's exactly what I did to see if we could all save a little bit of dough. Holiday dinner season is here. If you live in Windsor, you can get the food you need in Canada or just across the Detroit River in the United States. But what's cheaper? Let's take a road trip and find out.
Your destination is on the left.
First stop, a Windsor Walmart to price check in Canada. On the shopping list, 15 things in amounts to make a holiday meal for about a dozen people. Turkey, stuffing, gravy, cranberry sauce, potatoes, a few vegetables, pop, eggnog, chocolate, a couple desserts, and festive party crackers. The total cost after taxes, 173 Canadian dollars. Next, a trip across the Ambassador Bridge and the border to the closest Walmart in America. I'm in the United States now, about to head into a Walmart in Dearborn, Michigan to check out the U.S. pricing. For a fair comparison, we're at the same big box store, looking at prices of the same products and amounts. We're also comparing the same brand names wherever possible. Individual items were different prices than in Canada, but the full shopping list here costs nearly 126 American dollars after taxes, which also equals 173 Canadian, the same as in Windsor, just a few pennies more on the US side. But if you're shopping in the States, you need to factor in other costs too. The biggest, tolls to cross the border. If you take the Ambassador Bridge, it'll run you $24 return, raising the total cost of the trip to more than $197. So if you're cooking up a holiday dinner in Windsor, it could be cheaper to get your ingredients on the Canadian side of the border. Acton Clarkin, CBC News, Windsor. It was pretty mild when I was out shooting that, and now to fill you in on what weather we can all expect in the days ahead, Colette Kennedy is here. What's on your radar, Colette?
Yeah, and it's all relative, right? Well, certainly things have been on the cooler side, and I caught that, what's on my radar. We're going to get to that here in a second as well. But we certainly had some chilly temperatures. In fact, through last night, -6 into Windsor, Chatham, Kent, -6 as well. Sarnia, -7. This was in the middle of the night last night, okay, a few hours after midnight. And then we've made it to where we're at now, -3. We were up to -2, but we've had to deal with those winds across the lake. So the radar, we've cleared out now, but certainly we had the clouds and some snow earlier in the day. I'll have more on what's to come coming up.
Thanks so much. Chat again soon. Toronto police and OPP have identified a serial killer responsible for the murders of 3 women in separate cases spanning 15 years, and it has a Windsor connection. Ali Chiasson has more.
He does meet the criteria to be called a serial killer.
Kenneth Smith. Police say he is responsible for murdering Christine Prince, Claire Sampson, and Gracelyn Greenidge. Prince was 25 years old, working as a nanny in Toronto. She was killed in 1982, found drowned in the Rouge River in Scarborough. Sampson was 23 years old, killed in 1983. She was shot twice, and her body was found in Oro-Medonte, Ontario. Then Gracelyn Greenidge was found dead in her apartment on Driftwood Avenue in 1997. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. Their cases ran cold until last week when DNA testing linked Smith to all 3 crime scenes.
Kenneth Smith died in 2019 at the age of 72 years old in Windsor, Ontario. If he were alive today, the Toronto Police Service would arrest Kenneth Smith for the homicides of Christine Prince and Gracelyn Greenidge, and the OPP would arrest him for the homicide of Claire Sampson.
The women weren't known to each other, and they weren't known to their killer.
The only thing that linked them was the offender's DNA.
The cold case unit used genetic genealogy, where they take that DNA and look for matches in public databases.
It makes all the cases that have previously been unsolvable now solvable.
Investigators broke the news to family members this week.
It was emotionally charged. Claire Sampson's parents are now deceased, so they met with siblings who recognize now that the parents will never know this good news that the person has been identified who is responsible.
There are hundreds of unsolved murders in Toronto. Private investigator and cold case podcaster Jay Nichols says a break like this,
it gives a lot of those families a lot of hope that maybe, just maybe, something will show up. Just the fact they know the police are still looking into things like this gives so many families hope. That's all they ask for is hope.
This is still an open investigation because Toronto police say that Smith could be linked to other homicides or other missing people right up until his death in 2019. So they are asking the public to contact them if they have any information on possible crimes that Kenneth Smith may have committed throughout the course of his life, now deemed a serial killer. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Windsor police have made 3 arrests after an investigation into illegal firearms. Officers found several guns in a home on Charles Avenue near the corner of Tecumseh Road West and Dougal Avenue. Shotguns, semi-automatic rifles, and ammunition have been seized. More than 750 grams of cocaine, drug paraphernalia, and 25 grand in cash have also been found. A 35-year-old man is facing multiple charges. 2 others, aged 38 and 40, have also been arrested and charged. Police are now asking anyone with information to get in touch. You could have given me 100 guesses for who showed up at the Stellantis Windsor assembly plant Thursday, and I wouldn't have got it. But it was the big man, Santa Claus himself. He was there alongside plant workers, all donating goodies for the Windsor firefighters' annual Sparky's Toy Drive. And Santa took the chance to trade in his sleigh for a sports car just for the day.
I've been here for 27 plus years, and ever since I've been an employee here, we've been collecting food and donations for the holidays as well as for Sparky Toy Drive. This community and this plant has been generous beyond words, and we're extremely thankful for them and grateful for it. It's an emotional time, and we know that The external environment is very challenging, and it's putting a lot of stress on different people for different reasons. And no matter what happens in the external environment, our employees continue to give no matter what. They know that they are the heart of this community, and they show up every day, and they wear their heart on their sleeves, and they give to this community on a consistent basis. This year in dollar amount was $18,000 plus. I think you're going to see over 4 full vehicles. There's 2 beautiful Pacificas and 2 wonderful Chargers that you're going to see down there full of toys. And you're going to be in for a treat when we go down there and see the vehicle.
We just completed our registration. We were sitting right around 3,000 children in need in this community, which breaks down to about 1,200 families. And again, without the generous support from supporters like this and community partners like Windsor Assembly and Stellantis, our mission just wouldn't be possible. We can only give out what we take in. They've answered, the call that we've put out for help and for toys and donations and such. It's truly overwhelming to see the joy in the weight that it lifts off their shoulders to know that, there's going to be a happy holiday morning for their children at home. There's no better feeling. These toys are going to go and get sorted, bagged individually based on gender and age, sort of that the toys are deemed for. And then those will be distributed to those interested and that have registered at a later date.
There's a new statue in Detroit's Eastern Market that's hard to miss. It's an 11-foot-tall crime fighter, RoboCop, from the 1987 movie. Our Mike Evans had to go check it out.
Man, this guy's really good. Half machine. RoboCop. Are you a Detroit native?
I grew up in Inkster.
Okay, yeah, so close.
Close.
We're from Canada. We came over here to see the RoboCop statue. You didn't have to come as far. What brought you down here, Rodney?
I remember seeing the movie when it came way back. I can't remember now what year that was, but sort of neat to see that they have the statue now.
Yeah, that was 1987 is when the film came out, so I
graduated, that's the year I graduated from high school, so.
Yeah, and then you heard about the statue, and you wanted to come down here and check it out.
Correct. I think I noticed a couple years ago that they were working on it, and then obviously there was issues with health and then finances.
Well, has it met your expectations of what you were expecting?
Yes, way more than that.
Is this going to be like a little tourist destination for people who are visiting Detroit who love the movie?
I would think so. Now that people know it's there, they'll probably find it. And
yeah, because here we are. It's one of the coldest days of the year, and we came.
Let the woman go, or there will be trouble.
Many years ago, when I was a kid, watching something like this was pretty cool because it represented Detroit, even though it's filmed in Dallas.
You like the movie so much, you went to a Comic-Con and saw Peter Weller. Does he know about the statue? That's my question.
He knows about it, but at that time, he didn't know where it would be. It would be great if he shows up one day and standing right next to the statue.
So it's your first time seeing it today. What did you think?
Yeah. Oh, it's great. The statue is great. We waited, I think, around 11 years for it, or 15 years.
What is it about RoboCop that symbolizes the city of Detroit so well, do you think?
I think it's just the grit. And here in the city, we've gone through a lot. To have sci-fi movie about how it can change. A little violent, but...
Excuse me, Robo, any special message for all the kids watching at home?
Stay out of trouble.
Come here, young man. What's your name?
Ethan.
Ethan, what do you think about the RoboCop statue?
It looks great.
Yeah? What's your favorite part about it?
Probably the head. I drew a picture of it at school today.
Is he bigger than you thought he'd be, or is he about the same size that you thought he'd be?
He's bigger than I thought he'd be.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
A look at downtown Windsor from our CBC Tower Cam. And just off screen, the Ambassador Bridge. Just ahead, we're going to have a story about another step that some people might have to take if they're looking to cross the border into Michigan over that bridge, and it could cause some people to think twice about what they post online. All of those details coming up next. The U.S. government may soon be asking some visitors to fork over their social media history for the last 5 years. The Department of Homeland Security is seeking feedback on the proposal for the next 2 months. It wouldn't affect people headed over the border on a Canadian passport, but it would affect people from 42 other places, including the UK and Japan. A local immigration lawyer has some concerns.
It's just a slippery slope. You just don't know where this is going to go. Again, nobody would argue with the desire or the objective to make Americans safer by adopting policies that improve screening, immigration screening. Nobody would argue with that. But when you introduce something like this that's so far from what we have in place now, the obvious concerns are going to be, show us how this achieves that objective and alleviate the concerns that this could be just a bridge too far.
Provincial politicians have wrapped up their time at Queen's Park for the year and won't be back for 3.5 months. This after an already short fall sitting. In all, the Ontario government has faced opposition questions for only 52 days this year, a stat that's not sitting well with everyone. Lorenda Redekop has the story.
Politicians won't be enjoying those Queen's Park Christmas lights anymore. The session is over, and it's an extra long break, 4 more weeks than normal. Not back until March 23rd of next year, after March break.
That's crazy. It's not acceptable.
A totally different take from the government.
It's not late at all.
The last break was also longer than usual.
I think it's acceptable when you look at the tremendous amount of legislation that we were able to drive forward.
12 new government bills passed this session, all of them sped up, limiting debate. The House sat for just 51 days in 2025. That's the fewest number of days since 2007.
The people in our ridings elect us to come here and pass legislation to make their lives easier and more affordable. And this government is failing to do that. They're failing to do it on housing. They're failing to do it on health care. And they don't want to be held accountable.
Simply outrageous. The Premier barely showed up to question period, barely answered any questions, rushed through bills without following due process.
Among the fast-tracked bills, some that sparked anger. One gives the education minister more power, including to take over school boards. He says it's needed. And an omnibus housing bill. Critics say it will make it easier and faster for landlords to evict tenants.
And fire this minister.
But the issue that dominated question period this session, the $2.5 billion Skills Development Fund. The Auditor General said money doled out wasn't fair, transparent, or accountable. The Labour Minister sometimes overriding the advice of bureaucrats. The Premier rarely taking opposition questions.
I'm not surprised because I think he's a coward. You're that scared of me, buddy? Don't be scared of me. Be scared of the people of Ontario. They're the ones who are actually angry right now and frustrated.
However, polls show the Ford government remains popular. It defends the long break.
It's this decision that if you're not sitting here in the Legislative Assembly, that you're somehow on vacation, it can no further be from the truth.
Now MPPs will have 3.5 months to be in their ridings and hear what voters think. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
In Ottawa, federal MPs are taking a 6-week winter break of their own. Parliament wrapping up on Thursday with lots still on the docket for next year.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Several bills are still working their way through the House. Only 4 passed this entire session. This week, Mark Carney said Canadians had the right to expect more progress. A major one that still needs to pass, the bill to actually implement the federal budget. It's made its way through its second reading. Its next stop is to committee for more of those checks and balances. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at your forecast, getting you ready to tackle the end of your week and into the weekend. Stay with us. Colette is back to fill you in on what you need to know about your forecast. How are things looking out there, Colette?
Well, a little bit on the chilly side, I guess you could say. And certainly we experienced that this morning. And we do have a little bit of a bump up in our temperatures, but another Arctic front is then going to be coming through as we move into the weekend. So just checking out that story. I mean, we're at -4 right now. If you travel into the prairies, well, that's more than 15 degrees milder than Saskatoon at -20. But I'll just mention that Whitehorse, now they're at -39 now, but they were down to -42 with a wind chill making it feel like -50. So when we do some of that comparing, then you know, things don't seem so bad around our neck of the woods. So there are a few more of your readings. Kitchener at -10, -7 in London. So obviously some cooler air a bit further east as well. Those sustained winds generally still in that 15 to 20 kilometer per hour range. And this gives us our wind chill. So all right, it does actually feel as though we are at -10 if you are outside. And then of course we had a little more cloud cover, and even the early part of the day, some of those flurries coming through our skies than I anticipated, because we knew we were getting into some of the snow squalls, but that fetch was far enough that coming off of the Lake Michigan, we were getting some of that activity, building some of the clouds. We do have some clearer skies now, at least, finally, but you can see some of the squalls there still. Goderich, London, these just starting to come back towards the city itself, although they've been up through much of the day, one way or the other, east or west. That's been a bit of an improvement. Also, it's been really tricky around the Barrie area, and they're still in a snow squall warning, an orange level snow squall warning for that region. So as we move through time tonight, we're going to find that there's some cloud cover to start out tomorrow morning, but I do think into the afternoon into southwestern Ontario, we'll get some hours where we get that sun. So I put kind of variable skies on your forecast, but then the next playmaker is the leading edge of this Arctic front that's going to be coming in, okay? So that moves in, that's 2 a.m. So it's really in the overnight hours Saturday. It's going to be blowing around, so not a lot of snow here, maybe a few centimeters to some cases up to 5. But because it's blowing around, if you're going to be out and about for some reason at that time of night, it's going to seem like even more. And we'll wake up to that early on Saturday, -10, your overnight temperature, -2 tomorrow. That's what I mean by a little bit milder, a little bump up. But check out Saturday night, -14, Acton, some very cold nights this weekend.
Appreciate this. Thanks, Colette.
You're welcome.
That's our show, folks. Appreciate you watching, and see you next time.